So I got an email from a subscriber to this channel who hit a pretty nice football trading win the other day, locked in £4,276 of profit from a very, very small stake. And this was on the Aston Villa FA Cup match the other day. And in this video, we're going to go over how he did it. So welcome along, guys, and a big shout out to Paul, who is a subscriber of this channel. He admits to being quite new to football trading, only really recently started to see good success with his football trading. He had sent me these screenshots during the World Cup after following some of our advice on that and greened up very nicely on it, as you can see. And he doesn't use big stakes at all, which we'll get onto in just a moment. And as you can see, greened up nicely on the golden boot market. Very hard market to trade, but as you might have seen with the videos, we had Messi amongst our scorers in that golden boot market, and then Messi did trade down to 1.01, I believe, close to that. It must have been during the chaos of the final before Mbappe's last minute equalizer in the final of extra time was what gave the golden boot to Mbappe. So if you did follow that, I hope you did green up long time before that Mbappe penalty. But anyway, that was a bit of a crazy market. But anyway, let's not digress on this. So Paul sent me an email about an interesting trade he did in the Aston Villa Stevenage match, which was in the FA Cup. And so I'm going to bring up some of the screenshots he sent. And obviously, look, these are not the best quality screenshots. Paul just obviously took whatever screenshots he could take in the moment and just sent them over. We're very grateful to get any sort of screenshot, to be fair. So anyway, so Paul has emailed in, and so I've got the email here. So he says, yesterday I traded my local team Stevenage at Aston Villa. As soon as I heard the draw weeks ago, I thought they had a good chance of a result there. I tried to get a bet on at 30 to 1 on Betfair, but it was unmatched. So on Saturday, I initially laid Aston Villa at 1.21 for £800, which gives you a liability of £163 initially. Okay, then on Sunday, as the players took the pitch, I cashed out for around £20 profit, and then went in again, laid Villa at 1.25 for £200, costing £50, and I let this run with the intention of cashing out when Stevenage scored, or when Stevenage scored. They did, but it was ruled out during the first half. So what he's done, and obviously this is just to explain this to a lot of people who might be new to this. Now, that initial lay of £800 at 1.2 and 1.21, it was a liability of 163, but that sounds like he was just doing a pre-match trade. And again, he just cashed out for the £20 profit. So like a pro, he's created a little bit of leverage right there. But I just want to make that clear, because sometimes people hear, oh, there was a lay for £800. They think that you're throwing in £800 into the market and that money could all go. No, if you're going to trade out before the match, then that money is never at risk. An £800 lay is only a £163 liability. But anyway, he then obviously went in again, a £200 lay, using some of the leverage. It got it down to only a £50 risk in this so far. And so anyway, Aston Villa took the lead, as we can see in the first half. So we can see Aston Villa took the lead in this one. So he then goes on to say, while it was still only 1-0, I knew Stevenage were very strong at the end of matches. Steve Evans, I assume that's the Stevenage manager, really does work them hard on fitness. So as the odds on Stevenage kept going up or out, I was drip feeding money on them, £10 at a time. And so I got odds of 60, 70, 130 and 200. So that gave green of roughly around the 4,778. So I assume this is this screenshot here. So that was his trade. So he was just backing Stevenage as the odds rose and rose on them. And then he then goes on to say, I tried to get another £10 on at 1,000, but just missed out, as Stevenage were awarded a penalty and Betfair suspended the market. So I guess that is right when that happened. He tried to back them at 1,000 to 1. So very interesting trade. And I'm going to give my viewpoint on all of this at the end of the video. Anyway, he says before he could act, Stevenage had obviously equalised, but then before he could do anything, they scored another goal. going into injury time, which meant they then took the lead. Two very quick late goals to Stevenage completely turned it around, and they went in from odds of close to 1,000 into what you can see there, 1.06 to lay. So his total risk on that really was that £72, wasn't it? If we're just looking at that screenshot on the left. And anyway, as you can see, he cashed out £4,276 from that. He says it took 6 attempts to cash out due to the hectic odds changing, and yet that can happen late on in the matches when it's all going a bit crazy, because there probably was some other people who did a very similar trade to that, and they all wanted to cash out all at once in that late stages of injury times. And he says here he was worried Villa would score an equaliser in that time, and I bet you were, when you're seeing £4,000 of of profit there ready to be locked in. You must have probably sweaty palms at that moment, right? Anyway, just goes on to say thank you again for all the advice and all of the videos. He doesn't really like to trade via the stats. He likes to trade the matches as he reads them. And so, you know, just judging from that, I assume he was watching the live pictures of this. That I'm sure this was on the TV, wasn't it? So it would have been very easy for him to watch it. And he says Stevenage is his local team. So it just goes to show, I mean, so one of the little things you can take away from this is that match reading is still probably one of the best ways to find opportunities like this. Watching the match live is probably the best way to find it. If you're just looking at the in-play stats, then you're probably not really going to have spotted this sort of opportunity. You're probably just going to think Aston Villa are going to close out the win. They had most possession, etc., etc. But when you're watching the match live, that's when you can find opportunities like this. Now, I wasn't watching the closing stages of this particular match, but I have seen matches similar to this where a team is leading, especially if they're the favourite, and they just take their foot off the gas, and they seem to have a little bit of a concentration drop late on, and then you can oppose them at very, very low odds. I mean, Aston Villa were already a short price going into this match, weren't they? So they would have been an even shorter price, 1-0 up with around 6 minutes to go. So even just laying Aston Villa would have been a decent opportunity if you could spot just by watching the live pictures that they had taken their foot off the gas. And that kind of leads me on to my kind of viewpoint on the trade. Now, I initially would say that maybe the better approach for Paul to have taken in the late stages would have been to have laid Aston Villa rather than to back Stevenage. Okay, main reason for that is that, look, if there is an equaliser, then Aston Villa's odds are going to shoot out, and you could lock in the profit at that particular point. You probably wouldn't be able to lock in as big a profit, but doing it the way Paul did it, well, to lock in a profit, he probably would have needed the Stevenage winner. I'm definitely thinking that if Stevenage equalised, made it 1-1 on around the 86th minute, then I don't think their odds would have dropped into profitable territory, or maybe there would have been some sort of profit, but it probably wouldn't have been significant. So by doing what Paul did, he needed Stevenage to take the lead. Okay, and as we know, and as Paul has admitted, he is quite new to this and everything. So obviously it has worked out well this time, but probably a better approach might have been to have laid Aston Villa, locked in the green on the equaliser, and then if you thought the Stevenage winner was going to come, then you could back Stevenage. But of course, I mean, look, this trade worked out very, very well in the end, and it is a bit of a freak result. It's very similar to Man United, Bayern Munich, 1999, that sort of turnaround in the very, very late stages. And you don't often see it from such a big underdog happen. So, yeah, you know, you're going to be waiting a while for another trade just like this. But again, I mean, what do I know? He's risked, what, £72, walked away with £4,276. So anyway, great work. Congratulations, Paul. And just thought this would be a very fun little video to share with you guys. And it's always good. It's always good to see people getting those nice winners, and it can be inspiring for you before you head out into the markets and hit those football markets once again, especially if you've had a rough day. That very nice big win could be just around the corner. Anyway, if you've enjoyed this video, I would really love it if you could just click the like button to support the channel. Also hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. It really helps when you click the like button. It really boosts my ego, especially. So that would be very nice if you could do it. And if you are interested in sports trading, football trading, or any of this subject matter, there should be another very good video on the screen right now that is worth watching for sure. So click on that video, go grab a nice cold beer, and I'll see you in that next video.